What's up, everybody? Welcome to IGN Game Scoop. I'm your host, Damon Hadfield. Joining me this week is Justin Davis.
Scoop.
Tina Amini.
Hello.
And Sam Claiborne.
Perfect audio fidelity.
And we've got a great show for you this week. We're going to talk about DualSense. The DualShock is dead. Long live the DualShock. We're going to talk a little bit more about that Last of Us 2 delay. But first, you may have heard by now that E3 is canceled. Guys, what on earth are we going to do instead of go to E3?
Well, it is the summer. It is the summer, and we do like gaming. So we decided, this is the official IGN word, we decided on summer of gaming. No, but, in all seriousness, like it's a huge bummer for us as both as like people who enjoy covering E3, but also as people who enjoy video games and like to know about the biggest news drops in the summer that we're used to. A lot of those publishers are still planning on those announcements, but so much has been thrown up into the air with this COVID-19 situation we're all dealing with that it's impossible to make E3 look like E3 that it was last year and the previous years that we've been covering it. So instead, it'll look a little different, but we still want to make sure that we're covering those publishers and the developers that are still planning on those big reveals, still have games coming out, even if some of them are delayed at this point. There's a lot of uncertainties, but we still know that there's a lot of games, there's a lot of developers and publishers, and there's a lot of us that want to cover that stuff, and a lot of our readers that want to read it. So we came up with Summer of Gaming. We're working with a bunch of publishers and developers to see what we can't do to bring you all those news drops, trailers, gameplay deep dives, interviews with developers, just all digital, all looking like this.
I actually have a
statement.
I have a statement from IGN's Tina Amini, actually.
Who's that?
It reads, as everyone rallies to maintain what normalcy we can in such an unprecedented time, there are still plenty of upcoming games and new hardware worth experiencing and sharing through coverage. Developers and publishers still have plenty of games and announcements lined up to show off, and we're keen on sharing them with our readers who still look forward to those exciting summertime reveals in the gaming industry. Our Summer of Gaming showcase is certainly a response to our audience's desire for filling that content gap this year, but we're looking forward to E3 2021 when the world is hopefully back to normal.
Okay.
Yeah,
Neither you nor Tina would ever say we're keen. I'm confused of what's going on.
I
just thought that was sort of pandering to our British audience.
Yeah, honestly, we've hired a lot of people in the UK. I work with Joe a lot more closely these days.
Yeah.
It's just rubbed off.
You're keen on it. That's great.
Yeah. Lucy's in the office now. I can't hold it back.
Mm-hmm. How'd Damon do?
I'm gonna say it was very good. I liked all of the intonation. I'm also gonna drop in a lot of y'alls now that I'm in Austin. So just prepare yourselves.
Have you been hearing y'alls? Y'all keen on this?
Y'all keen on this?
Anyway, please be excited for our Summer of Gaming. We'll have more details coming soon, but everything should be kicking off in early June. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Cool.
We're excited. Please be
I'm going to
excited.
clean my screen.
Okay.
Ew.
It was looking all dirty.
Remember, you're supposed to clean it for 20 seconds.
That's true.
That's true. I think that's an improvement.
60% alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move on. That's my body composition. Let's move on to this week's topics. Sony revealed the new controller for the PlayStation 5, the DualSense, and it is a radical departure in terms of its design from the DualShock 4. What were your guys' first impressions of the look?
Looks very Xboxy.
Mm-hmm.
Think so?
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like a chunkier shape, which I think everybody really likes. I actually like that the two of them seem to be borrowing from each other for their two controllers too. It's nice to see like good decisions paying off regardless of company.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about that shape. Does it go? I mean, the Xbox obviously had it for the 360, but does that go back to the Genesis, the chunky controller? Is that the first chunky controller? Things are very small and flat before then.
I don't know. The ColecoVision is pretty chunky.
Yeah, that's like a telephone.
Yeah.
My first reaction was, oh, that looks kind of chunky, but it has grown on me every time I sort of see an Instagram post or, something taking a look at the overall look. I prefer PlayStation to Xbox generally, but they keep making the same PlayStation controller mistakes. I really don't like the non-offset sticks, and I don't like L2 and R2. Anytime you set that controller down, it's like fast forwarding through my movies. Like those sticks are going crazy. So
it's funny. I've seen people like that feature actually because it's just like really accessible buttons that you can quickly maneuver into a media composition.
Well, it's when you're snacking, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
You can be like, you can like hold in your face and be like fast forward.
I think the touch bar they had to keep for backwards compatibility reasons. Although like that feels like a very expensive, very central part of that controller. Like I hope they have bigger plans for it than what ended up coming together on the PS4.
I love that thing. Like
it takes up a lot of real estate.
It does, but you don't have to type things in. It's so much easier to swipe around for text. That's like the biggest.
I've never used it for that. I've never used it for that.
Explain. I use it all the time.
What do you do? What's the text thing?
It's like on a phone when you're just swiping to hit.
I don't do that either.
Characters. I don't either actually, but like it's much easier than going, individual letter by individual letter. Yeah. So I just like quickly zoom over to the letters.
I've never used it for that, and we do have to input codes and short things and stuff like that all the time. So that makes sense.
Yeah, I feel like searching for movies.
Mm-hmm. In searching. Nine games out of 10, it's just a giant map button.
Yep. It really is. I like, and I'm sure it's going to come in a million colors, but I actually like the, blue, white, black variation that they showed off, sort of their hero version of that controller. I think it's really like, it looks futuristic, like it looks bold, and it looks less conservative than the Xbox One X controller, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's definitely a much bigger change from the current gen controller than the Xbox is doing with Series X. But Justin, you didn't ever like in a million years think they were going to offset the thumbsticks, did you?
Yeah. Did I think they were going to? I mean, did I think that Sony would continue making the same mistake for the 20th year running? No, it is a matter of personal preference, but it's I don't understand how people can prefer symmetrical sticks. So that's just a thing with me personally and millions of other gamers.
When you look at those controllers over the years, it looks like somebody like put a straw in and just blew them up because they just puff out more and more and more. And now it's like the puffiest it's ever been. And the next year or the next generation is going to be the Duke.
The worst controller.
Yeah, the worst controller ever. Did you ever did you look at like the button names and stuff on it? Like there's for now a whole generation there hasn't been a start and select button, or like people have been really resistant to using that. Like Nintendo even went to plus and minus, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And I hate that so much because like I have to write out back, especially when this is my full-time job, when you're writing out cheat codes or when you're writing out button commands and helping people with games, you have to write out what the damn buttons are called. And like, I have no idea what to call those buttons. It's like one is like kind of a share button. The other one's kind of a pause button, but it isn't. And they have like symbols next to them. One is called a hamburger usually, like, in menus, it's like the stack. Yeah. I don't know what the other one is. It's like three fingers, like a little fire. It's like a hamburger firework.
You're blasting it out into the world.
Aren't they calling it the Create button?
Create,
or did
now it's like, no, you're right.
No, that's
they rebranded Share Create. So like when
it's
you
rebranding.
say that, yeah, for sure.
I hope it's like a lot of us are assuming that maybe you can choose a couple more interesting, unique things with it, like turning it into GIFs. Jonathan was mentioning that it may have like something to do with the Share Factory functionality and kind of combining those two things. So that would be cool, but I love the share button. It's just the accessibility of it is really, really useful to just have you be able to capture moments on a dime like that. So I hope it's just a rebranding and you can still do all that.
I'm sure you can.
I'm sure.
I finally had a PlayStation 4 controller die. Like the battery just would not charge anymore. And I bought it. And I'm really concerned. I hate batteries. I think they're terrible, but they're so much more reliable for gaming. And I do know that I'll start missing that option even more if both in the PlayStation, even though the last one didn't have it either. They're also really light without batteries in them, and like for some reason, I almost wish they would add weight to them. I just don't like the light plastic.
That's one tiny detail in PC gaming that I wish would actually make its way over to console gaming. Is a lot of high-end PC mouse allow you to weight them, like they have little compartments where you can take out weights and change how many grams the mouse is to sort of fit your personal taste. And that feels like probably not in a stock controller, but like in the Xbox Elite controller, like it feels like they should have had an option to add weights to the controller if you wanted.
That's funny because my mouse always whiffs out the window.
The battery life, the very short battery life is probably my main complaint with the DualShock 4. And Sony said they're addressing that for the DualSense, but they stopped short of providing any sort of specifics for how long we can expect the battery to last.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll take anything.
No kidding, right? on the one hand, you have the Xbox controller where it feels so low tech and sort of chintzy that you still have to shove, AA or AAA batteries in it. But on the other hand, Sam had a controller completely die, and that's like, 60. How much are they? $60? Like some $60 piece of technology.
You can buy a charge pack. Like that's the point. Is that like my controller was like dead at that point. I can't. I haven't. I could probably fix it. I should open it up and see. I can fix anything.
You could use it as a wired controller.
I'm good at fixing things.
Close to your console.
So it's a dual tone, mostly white controller, completely different from any other PlayStation controller we've ever gotten. The console must be mostly white, right?
Yeah. They always match that, right? It's confusing if they don't. But sometimes they launch in multiple different variations. It still also has like glowing, and doesn't have like a glowing seam now that goes around the front of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the light bar, they moved to the top, essentially, like where the touch bar is instead of kind of at the back.
And it kind of outlines the big map pad too. Right?
Yeah.
I love the aesthetics of the design, stick placement aside and R2L2 aside. Like it's really great looking and a forward facing design, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I can't unsee someone did because it's two-tone, which is unusual for them. Someone mapped it out to like a wrestler's uniform, and I can't unsee it now. It's done for me.
There's been lots of good fan photoshops. Even our own Brian Altano did a really good Mario one.
Yeah, we've got a roundup on the site.
Yeah.
Since the PlayStation 1, they've gone like black for launch. PlayStation 2 was starkly different than the GameCube, and it looked the Xbox was black also. And then for PlayStation 3, it was against these like very white Apple-looking systems, right? With the Wii and the Xbox 360. And then last generation, got a little bit crazy. They still were all black. So I'm kind of surprised that they're going to go with a white scheme if they do.
Yeah, I'm surprised too.
So everybody white or black? Like phones, hardware, like what's your preference normally?
Black.
I don't like seeing how dirty my things are. And I don't like thinking about it, so I have to go.
I'm gonna go with gold.
Yeah,
sure.
Although I have fair because you didn't give us the option.
I know.
I have the all black Nintendo Switch, and I really wish I had the blue and red Joy-Cons.
Aw,
you can buy them.
They're really expensive.
They're very expensive.
Yeah, just wait for them to start drifting.
Yeah.
I have my Joy-Con just started drifting. It's very hard to catch fossils and pick up fossils in Animal Crossing now.
So nice.
You just missed the hole?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. He like
That's
yeah.
lame.
And so that's when I sort of had the sticker shock of, oh man, these things are $80.
Yeah, for sure.
But if it was a Game Boy, then you have to throw it away. Sorry, Tina, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I want the Animal Crossing one.
Yeah.
Even though I think it was actually Altano that said it looks like toothpaste. Who said that?
Oh God!
Someone said it looked like toothpaste, and I can't get that out of my head now either.
I think I'm gonna get. There's like a Luigi green that I have my eye on. I think I'm gonna get that one.
Is it Gooigi green?
Yeah, whatever, man. Like it's the Luigi's Mansion color scheme ones that are still pretty easy to find.
It's LaCroix green.
Yeah.
There you go. That lime flavor, the only one I'll drink.
Is that
only drink lime?
What about pamplemousse?
We like pamplemousse. But Kim drinks like 5 a day, so I hardly ever get to drink them. I have to drink the lime.
I do too.
Lime and lemon. That's all. That's good.
Okay.
Have you had the blood orange? Blood orange is pretty good.
I haven't tried the blood orange. There's a berry one. Yeah, it's fine.
No, I don't do that. Pamplemousse though, man. I'm all
pamplemousse. Yeah, that's the best one. All right, let's move on to some other Sony news. Last week we talked about how The Last of Us Part 2 had been delayed indefinitely, and then since then Sony has been automatically refunding people that pre-purchase the digital copy of The Last of Us 2. And to me, that doesn't bode well for this being a short delay. Like, what do you guys think? Why would they just be refunding people automatically?
I think, isn't that a law in certain countries?
Well, they're not refunding the physical pre-orders.
Well, but Sony doesn't own the physical pre-orders. Like, I could be totally off base. My understanding is certain countries, I think some EU countries, like if you change the terms of like, hey, you said you were going to deliver this thing on this date, if that changes, then you're required to actually give people their money back, maybe. But I could have just made that whole thing up.
It sounds very reasonable. I can see that being the case.
Well, because I think Nintendo was fighting it and then I think they lost that court case. I think I read about it on IGN a while back. But I'm only like half remembering this. In my opinion, no, I don't think it means that the game is delayed, months and months and months and months. I think it's some technicality that they're required to fulfill.
They should have spun it. Like, everybody needs this money right now for other things. We'll get it back later.
It could also just be like getting out ahead of any perception issues. Like if people are going to launch into complaints and say and use that argument, even if it's not a legal argument, but say like, I paid for this and you're not delivering. So it could just be a measure of goodwill also.
Yeah, but it's just weird that it's only digital pre-orders from the PlayStation Store. Like everywhere else, your pre-orders are still valid.
Well, that's because the PlayStation Store is the easiest to unwind that, economic relationship in. It's like they're just buying directly from them instead of from the third party who really wants that $3 that might not ever be redeemed or whatever.
It's on a retailer by retailer basis, but Amazon doesn't charge you for your pre-order until the item ships. So they're they haven't taken any money from you. They've just sort of held your place in line to buy this item.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting.
Speaking of pre-order, is this going to be people getting a game in just a matter of hours by the time you're listening to this episode that they might have paid for 10 years ago?
Yeah.
Final Fantasy VII?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know when those pre-orders went live. Wow.
I saw a guy had a crusty old Duke Nukem Forever receipt, which, that game is years in the past now, but that game existed for like 15 years before it came out. And some guy had a GameStop, he put his $10 down in like 2003 or whenever it was.
Are any of us gonna play Final Fantasy VII sometime soon?
Yeah, definitely.
You are?
Yeah,
for sure. Are you?
We've made a pact to, and you're included now.
Wow. Okay.
This is the conversation on this show.
Yeah. Even Tayo's involved now too. He can't avoid it.
Yeah. The whole lack of transparency from Square Enix still bothers me. But I guess if you guys are gonna play it, I'll go ahead and play it too.
Oh, trust me, you're gonna want that game to end when it ends.
So
I'm not saying that to slight it. I'm just saying like that's a good length of a game.
Yeah, it is a full JRPG. I actually didn't plan on playing it because I only have a base PS4 and I was worried about how the game was going to look. And I'm used to I have a slightly nicer gaming PC now. But after reading our video review and I'm kind of starting to buy into the hype now. So I think I may just play it after all.
All right.
Nice.
All right, we're all going to play it, but I'm going to finish Resident Evil 3 first, which I
had to play Kingdom Hearts 3. I'm definitely going to play Final Fantasy.
Well, you didn't play Kingdom Hearts 3 for very long.
I did. I played it for 6 or 8 hours.
Okay.
I got to the fourth world. It was long. God, it was bad. How's our RE3? You like it? Yeah,
I do like it. But I think you were saying a little bit on last week's show, it definitely feels like DLC for Resident Evil 2. It doesn't feel like Resident Evil 1, Resident Evil 2, and this is the third Resident Evil. It just kind of feels like more of the same of 2.
Here's the thing. Resident Evil 2 plus Resident Evil 3, if you were just to get them back to back, are better than Resident Evil 5. And it's 2 plus 3 equals 5.
That's true.
It's just math.
They're better than 5 and 6 put together.
Yeah. Well, because 6, that's tough because 6 actually, is worse than it's so bad that it drags down the whole experience.
It's true.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I like 5 though.
I know you're a 5 supporter.
I'm playing 4 again.
Yeah.
Yeah, on Switch.
Did you ever finish the original Final Fantasy VII?
No, I didn't even get to disc 2, and I got really far in that game.
Really?
I don't want to hear it. No.
The game is 3 discs. And so people think that it's disc 1 is a third of the game and disc 2 is a third, but it's not. Disc 3
it's just 2.
Yeah, disc 3 has nothing on it. It has the final dungeon and then a very long FMV cutscene that takes up the whole disc. I'm not I'm being super genuine.
Well, I'll just watch that and then I will have rolled the credits.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on. The ESRB has reassured gamers that there isn't a possibility of a shutdown, which would lead to game delays. And this is all happening because actually in Japan, now that Japan is starting to have to have more of a lockdown as the current pandemic is getting more serious there, their version of the ESRB, CERO, is shutting down for the time being, which means they won't be able to rate any games in the near future in Japan, which, for games that are planned to come out in the next 3 months or so, could potentially cause a delay there. But ESRB has gotten ahead of it and said that they have not shut down. We actually have a quote that says, "Thanks to a good deal of advanced planning, since March 16th, ESRB has been operating remotely due to the COVID-19 outbreak. We have seen no delay in assigning ratings. We will continue to assign ratings remotely for as long as required."
What an insane reason to affect a multi-billion-dollar industry. Like they can't. If people don't know this, they don't. The ESRB and Sarah don't play the games. They watch a video of a game, and
it's on the developers to disclose.
Yeah.
What
so they show us the most violent, most intense parts of your game, and they smash those together, and then the rating boards rate the games, and like they're gonna delay games because they can't figure out how to not do that in a centralized location.
I think it is different in Japan with Sero, Justin. I think they have outside people that aren't employees come to their office and play the game as a group, and then they all like rate the game.
That makes sense.
That's why they can't do it remotely.
So that's
how Famitsu works too.
Yeah, exactly. That's how the EGM reviews worked.
Got it. So the ESRB's method is a little bit more conducive to working from home than Sarah's is.
Exactly.
Sero is a really cool name compared to ESRB.
That's true.
Or Peggy.
Yeah, or much better than Peggy.
I like Peggy.
18.
Peggy 18.
Peggy 18.
Yeah.
Which also they updated, or rather we updated our story because they gave us word after the ESRB did. So Europe is cool too.
Also not shutting down.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if the ESRB were shut down, they couldn't rate games. None of the platform holders, Nintendo, Sony, or Microsoft, would allow a game that hadn't been rated on their platform. So that's the whole reason why.
They might just develop their own ratings and put them out anyway. I mean, there's nothing holding them to.
That's true.
It's just a handshake.
But self-regulation is what stops the government from coming in and regulating the games industry. Like the ESRB saying, no, we'll rate our games. We don't need, Congress's oversight of this. So, they run the risk of like raising the ire of official governing bodies. I guess to clarify, like obviously everyone needs to take the pandemic crazy seriously and safety first. So like, good on them for being responsible. But I guess I'm just surprised that it just feels like such a technicality and such a crazy detail that like your product can be finished, your game can be done, and the only thing stopping it from being released is just it can't get rated. Like it's got to be very frustrating for creators.
Yeah, I'm sure. So we shouldn't have to worry about any games coming to North America and Europe being delayed due to not being able to be rated by the ESRB or Peggy, unless Sero can't also rate the same game and the publisher doesn't want to put it out in a worldwide, I guess that's the only scenario I could see where this could actually cause a delay for us.
Have you guys ever seen the Sero ratings?
No.
I just looked them up. They're A, B, C, D, and Z. Z is kind of cool.
Yeah.
I don't know why I would have that.
What's the most mature one? What's the worst one?
Yeah, which is...
So Z is the worst. I guess it's like rated X. Worst.
Yeah.
I'm not saying
Right,
it's for 18-year-olds and above only. Expression and content suitable only for 18-year-olds and above included in the game. And then Sero D, the next one down, is 17-year-olds and above. So that's a big year. From 17 to 18, there's only certain things you can see. And then it goes to 15, 12, and then all ages. And A is all ages. I've never seen
At
this
least
before.
that made sense.
But that's that's funny that ratings bodies do that. They have like 4 normal ones and then one extreme one.
Yeah.
It's like like an NC-17 film.
Yeah. And then they and they have in Japanese games they always have A, B, C, D, E scores, and then they have S. And I always was confused about that as a kid. I never knew where S came from, and I guess it's for superior or something. I just don't know if that's part of their grading system.
I just read about that. Kohler or Jeremy Parrish or someone just wrote an essay about where the S rank came from. I wish I could name drop it properly, but it was really fascinating.
That's cool. Do you know what it was from?
No, I can't. It's at the tip of my brain.
Reading comprehension, Justin.
I don't have it.
Sero stands for Computer Entertainment Rating Organization, which is also an acronym in English, which is very confusing to me. I don't know why it's called.
What's the acronym in English?
No, that's just what it is.
Oh, okay.
It's an English name.
You guys, I forgot something really important that we were supposed to talk about DualSense. Okay.
Yeah.
It's a haptic feedback.
We're going back to the top of the show with the DualSense.
Okay. Let's roll back.
The DualShock name has been set aside. Now it's called the DualSense. The announcement says, DualSense is a registered trademark of Sony, but Sony isn't the only company using DualSense as a name. DualSense is the name of a washing machine's technology. It's the name of a gas detector. It's the name of a hair moisturizer, and it's the hair of a mattress topper. Oh, it's the name of a mattress topper.
Okay, so we have to get
trademarked.
Well, I don't know. I don't know how it works. They say they've trademarked it, but there's all these other like products that are using the term DualSense.
Okay, so we're gonna do a feature. Bo can do it, and it's gonna be the DualSense is ranked.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rank the DualSense.
I'll help with the hair one.
I think that I hope the mattress topper comes out on top.
Yeah. Nice.
Seems nice. I was not trying to make a pun, but I'll take it.
Let's check in with the listeners.
Hi, listeners.
Listeners, remember you can always reach us at the email address gamescoop@ign.com, just like Justin from Bellingham, Washington did. And he doesn't have a question. He has a story to tell us.
Okay. No, that's not loud.
So settle in, everybody. Justin says, first, I want to thank you for the hours and hours of content and for continuing to keep the scoops coming during this time. GameScoop has been a part of my weekly routine for years now as the first thing I watch each Saturday morning as I start to work around the house. However, last night I realized that maybe I have scooped too much and for too long as GameScoop invaded my dreams. I was in a largely empty room with Damon, Tina, and Jared Petty watching a live stream.
Sorry, Justin.
Yeah.
I was curious
There can only be one.
I was curious as to where Justin and
I'll let
Sam
you guys
were
take it from here.
until the stream started, as it turned out to be Justin and Sam revealing that those IGN characters were only their alter egos, for they are also members of Guns N' Roses.
Sure.
Oh,
Wow.
I
That's
can see
really
that for
good.
Tina, but I don't know.
Most notably, Sam was Axl Rose.
Oh.
They
Well, you have
proceeded
the
to
musical
launch-
talent, so.
They proceeded to launch into an extremely strange version of Sweet Child of Mine. During this stream, Jared and Tina were watching with rapt attention. Meanwhile, Damon was sitting off in the corner, seemingly disinterested. Upon further inspection, Damon was holding what appeared to be a Super Nintendo controller and was playing a game on a small TV. That game turned out to be Crimson Skies: High Road to Revenge from the original Xbox, which would not be compatible with a Super Nintendo controller for countless reasons.
Yeah.
That's like
That's what I knew it was a dream.
yeah.
It was then that I was rudely awoken by my alarm, wondering what in the world I had just experienced and if my scoop habit has become a problem. I was also wondering where the whole Guns N' Roses bit came in, considering I'm not much of a fan of the band or that song. But that seems like a question for another day. Most importantly, though, I really would like to know how and why Damon was playing Crimson Skies with a Super Nintendo controller. Thanks again for all the work that you guys and the behind-the-scenes producers and workers are doing to keep the scoops coming during these times. Any sense of normalcy is extremely valuable at the moment.
I agree.
So there you go.
But so how did you mod that controller, Damon?
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't my dream. It's not for me to say.
Crimson Skies is great.
Yeah. Cool cat, Justin.
Thank you. Why is Justin setting an alarm on a Saturday? Just turn that alarm off, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't know if it was we don't know if it's a Saturday, right? Oh yeah, well, he watches Scoop on Saturdays. We don't know when he has a dream.
Right.
Plus, some people work on the weekends.
Maybe he just wanted to get up early and go for a cool hike while nobody was out.
It's possible.
What was Jared doing in that dream? I missed that part.
He was watching you guys play as
With
Guns N' Roses.
rapt attention.
And you guys were hanging out with Jared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the
That would
most
have been my
unbelievable?
first
Yeah,
hint.
exactly. Is that the least believable part?
Yeah.
That's the first hint.
Oh,
It could happen.
Yeah, it could happen.
we love Jared.
Yeah.
We love Jared.
We love-
Okay, this is Nick. Nick says Streets of Rage 4 is coming out soon and it looks pretty cool. I remember when video games used to have different names in different regions. For example, Streets of Rage in the USA is Bare Knuckle elsewhere. Seems like this doesn't happen so much anymore. What is your favorite and least favorite name change of either game or a system from another region? My favorite, Nick's favorite, is changing Mega Man from Rockman, even though Rockman makes more sense. My least favorite is changing Biohazard to Resident Evil. I think Biohazard
how
better
does Rockman
represents the
make more
series.
sense?
Yeah, come on.
Because there's a music motif.
No,
There's-
there's not. There's a musical motif to names like treble and bass and all the characters, but
and
that doesn't
roll.
make any sense. It's a bunch of robots based on scissors and lava and stuff.
Yeah.
It's not like Mega Man's like rocking out or they're like doing
No.
anything with music in the whole game.
Rockman makes no sense.
Okay, you're gonna have to take this up with Nick.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
It is true. I do think that Biohazard probably better represents that
Yeah.
series.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
'Cause
in
Resident
research for
Evil-
this, I saw that there was some kind of trademark dispute with that, which makes no sense. If you can call anything in the world a DualSense, why can't you call anything a Biohazard?
That's true.
Apparently.
Mm-hmm.
There was a 90s metal band called Biohazard. Maybe they wouldn't let Capcom use it.
That could be it.
Are we supposed to be sharing examples? What's the question?
Ones that you like, ones that you don't.
Well, any examples of name changes in different regions that you like?
Yeah. I have one that I hate, which is that we missed 2 Final Fantasies in the United States. And so it created confusion for years around, like, they used to call Final Fantasy 2 and 3 2J and 3J because they came out only in Japan, and then 4 was 2 here. But then Square Enix with 7 fixed it, and now I think that's far enough in the past now that everybody just uses the proper numbering.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, I think so.
A real problem in my early games journalism days.
That happened with Dragon Quest Warrior also, where eventually it was just corrected. But sometimes those things are not corrected, and it's very strange. My favorite of all time is Puckman.
Well, of course.
When Pac-Man was first localized here, the story goes that Puckman was too easy to turn into with a simple, marker swipe, a different word, and so they had it to go back to Pac-Man. I like that.
You haven't F-bombed in GameScoop in a while.
I never have. I would never do that. I always do it. I usually do it before the episode starts, so Damon can edit it out.
Not cut it out.
Of respect. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's his choice. It's his choice.
So I did. Wait, are you finished with yours? You go.
Oh no, I have so many more, but I want to go around and then come back to the list.
So I was doing research for this too, just to spur my memory, and then I remembered that I edited. That is just like a top 10 name changes for Kotaku when I was there, and I totally forgot about it. So my resource became the thing that I edited in 2015 or something like that. And one of the examples was for Bully. And I totally forgot that Bully in the UK is Canis Canem Edit, which means dog eat dog.
I never knew that. I never knew that before.
Isn't that nuts?
That's a fun one. Yeah. And it's because, so it's in the UK, and it's because there were like animal rights organizations that, there were animal rights organizations that were pissed about that name, but then there were organizations, anti-bullying organizations that were upset about the Bully name. But then they came out with like the scholarship edition, and that I think passed in the UK. And so
that's pretty early for anti-bullying too. Like that's kind of a modern concept in the United States.
Yeah,
and bullying was a long time ago now. I looked at that piece too. I actually really liked it. I'll do some that I found independently. One is Bionic Commando, which is called in Japan Hitler's Resurrection, top secret.
Whoa. They spoiled the secret. It's right there in the title.
I think they changed things more than just the title too. Like they removed a lot of like swastikas and symbolism.
They made them into eagles, but then they just put Hitler back in the end. But he's called Master D. I don't know where that came from. Master D. And then my favorite, I should have even this is even better than Puckman because it sounds even dirtier, is Probotector for Contra.
But Sam,
but that's Robot Protector.
Yeah, put the P in front though.
Yeah, but it translates to Robot Protector.
Where does the P come from? Probotector.
I don't know. Take it up with Pear. It's German apparently.
Sam, the first Contra is called Grisor in the UK.
Grisor.
And then after that, it was Probotector. Yeah, Grisor.
We got to rebrand.
Grisor sounds so much like an 80s arcade shooter, like Xevious.
Yeah. Grisor sounds ridiculous and insane, but it's only because we haven't been talking about it on podcasts for 30 years. Like, it's no different than any of the other made-up words we talk about all day.
Gorf.
So first of all, I think Castlevania is the coolest name ever. I just think it's so cool and stupid in 80s. But Devil's Castle Dracula is what it's called in Japan. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a good one. And then on the topic of Castlevania Bloodlines in the UK was Castlevania The New Generation.
Cool.
Very Saved by the Bell.
Symphony of Night was something else too. Nocturne of something.
Yeah.
That's really
they're both pretty cool names. Yeah.
In Animal Crossing in Japan is Animal Forest, which I always thought was really cute. I think it's better than Animal Crossing. Cute. Animal Crossing is like a weird street sign joke that I don't even get. Like, why do we ever use that?
We already solved this. It's the zoomies when they're literally crossing one another. Get the zoomies together.
So this week it was discovered by Tina and I that animals can run back and forth across your screen, and that's the actual Animal Crossing, the titular activity in Animal Crossing.
Well, we've decided that's why it was named that way.
Yeah, it's in Wikipedia now. So. And then I was going to mention, Damon, you just played one. This is a boring one, but it's confusing. Is the Final Fantasy Adventure series, and several other games were Secret of Mana games in Japan.
Yeah.
that series just got so shafted. It's just nuts. Like all the Mana games like that didn't come out here got changed or whatever. And then go ahead.
Did you know Star Fox was called Star Wing in the UK?
In the UK? That's really weird.
Because there's apparently an Atari 2600 game called Star Fox that when Star Fox came out, they wouldn't relinquish the rights to that name.
I thought it'd be because of fox hunting and how prevalent it is there.
Yeah.
Don't hunt foxes. That's wrong. Mother is a really weird one.
Yeah,
Earthbound is kind of weirder, but like the Mother series, like I guess it's from Mothership. I tried to research this briefly, but it's very strange. Bad name for a game, bad movie. Everything about Mother is not great. Mothers are cool though.
Oh yeah, it took me a second to remember what you were talking about. Yeah, Mother is a terrible movie. Man,
hate that movie.
One of the worst theater going experiences I've ever had.
Oh yeah, you went to the theater?
Yeah, so I paid
I also did.
Yeah, I know you did.
$16 for that.
I at least got to expense mine because it was when I was working at Mashable. So at least there was that. At least. But that also meant that I couldn't walk out of the theater, which I would never do. But in this moment, I really did. I was like shifting in my seat trying to get out of there.
I walked out of Blues Brothers 2000.
Oh. Wow.
I was on a date. I was a little kid.
You were on a date as a little kid?
Yeah. Because that movie did not come out in 2000. It came out before that.
Wow. Okay. There's one more. River City Ransom is called Street Gangs in the UK.
That's cool.
Actually, makes more sense. Because I don't think anybody's being held for ransom, are they? Nobody.
River City Ransom. Yes, I know. Yeah, the two characters' girlfriends are being held ransom.
They're being held for ransom? Like you're supposed to
they're being
held by a gang.
They're being held hostage, but I think the ransom part must be implied. I don't know.
No one even ever asked.
Yeah, it's not made explicit.
The logo has the cutout letters for the ransom note.
Oh, that's true.
That's true. That's true.
That is the ransom note then, the game box.
Yeah.
Wow.
All
cool.
Right, let's get that added to Wikipedia.
Okay, let's move on. This is Alexander, who's writing to us with love from Brazil.
Cool.
Says, while playing the Final Fantasy VII Remake, I noticed you can't change your name like in the original. My question is, in games that allow for you to choose your name and sex, what do you usually go with? Do you guys have like standby names you always use?
Tina and female.
Wow. Playing as yourself?
Yep.
I always want, like every Zelda game, I want to name Link like, Butthole or something so that you get funny interactions with the villagers. But like, I can never quite bring myself to do it. Like I chicken out and always just
same.
Link.
Yeah. Like a bunch of our coworkers like making Link's name my dude. So it's like, what's up, my dude? We really need your help, my dude. And it's funny for a while, but I think that that kind of like disrupts the flow of the game. So I prefer to have that be kind of consistent. For Final Fantasy X, you could rename Titus, which like I kind of wish I didn't, but I was younger at the time and like I couldn't give him my name for once because it didn't make sense. He's not a Tina. So I gave him my brother's name. So it was just like my brother carried me out through all of Final Fantasy X. It was like kind of a nice little moment.
I definitely renamed my characters for the first Final Fantasy game I played, and I remember all 4 names, and they're stupid. I'm not going to share them, but I still remember them to this day. Like naming a character back then was a big deal. I always use the default character name. I don't like writing over it, but if it forces me to do a name, I've like really changed that up over the years. I really like Alf. I think that's funny. It was like a me I used for a long time. And then I had like a variation on Link a few times when I was a kid that I used like Linko and stuff. I don't know why. And then I was going to say like for choosing what character I play as, generally the men characters always like really annoy me in games, and I can play in sometimes like when it's like a cute like figure, like I don't mind Link at all. I think Link's really funny, and I like cute little figures. I'll choose a boy in those games. But if it's like really realistic, they're always like buff or stupid looking in some way, and like I hate how they look. So I usually go with a woman if I play a game like that.
Yeah,
you can give them a dumb name.
Yeah, you could.
I'm the same though. Like
Knuckle.
That's pretty good. I think that started for me with in World of Warcraft. The male character model was the same no matter what what your class was. And I was playing a mage, but he had this huge neck, and he was like this huge buff mage, and like it was the worst. It's like So that was the start of me. Anytime you could pick your sex in a game, it's actually the same as what Sam said. Like, I think the men usually look all doofy, and so I almost always pick a female character model. They're usually just more interesting. Like, FemShep was so much better than the male Shepherd.
Yeah, for sure. But
speaking of, like, those are the kind of games where I actually do like to. I mean, not that you had a choice in Mass Effect, but I like that there's like a narratively picked name for that environment, because you are sort of taking on a role that's not supposed to be you. So if, like in Animal Crossing, of course I'm going to put Tina because it just makes sense and it looks like me and I designed it that way. But for FemShep, like, she should be Shepherd.
I used my real name for the first time in Animal Crossing. I've never used it before.
Wow.
I also, given the choice, will almost always choose the female character. Just something really appealing about playing as a badass female warrior. And then in recent years, I'll name her after my wife, Kim. I do that. But then my longtime go-to video game name, going way back to when I was a kid and I was playing Final Fantasy II with my next door neighbor and one of my really good friends. There's a villain in that game called Kane with a K, and we just thought that was the coolest sounding name. So like for years and years and years, that's just like my default game name, Kane.
Oh my!
That is cool. Mine was
Go ahead.
Was that?
For a while, mine was Tesseract, because I I heard that word somewhere, and I liked that the shorthand for Tess was actually a name, like a female name, so it worked out really well. So I use Tesseract a lot too.
We, Sam, I appreciate and respect your privacy and not sharing your Final Fantasy I character names. But since you were limited to, I think, 4 or 5 characters, they were always horrible. Like, everyone's monk was named Fist. Like, that's like exactly what it was. Like my white mage was Heal, I think. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, you're so constrained that like they have to be terrible names.
Knowing another language, I often try to also just do things in Farsi instead, because then it becomes unique and terribly hard to spell and pronounce for people.
How difficult is it to spell Farsi with English characters?
Yeah, you just gotta kind of sound it out, and then occasionally there's like 2 or 3 vowels up against each other, and it's contested between the community which ones you're supposed to use. So you Google until you figure it out.
I always use default character designs now. Like I'm just over it. Like I should be designing characters, and I love the idea that character builders have gotten better and given people more access to making a character that looks like them or that represents them in some way. I just skip that. I just get too sucked into it. I just have to be like, I got to play this game.
Yeah, there's only so many of my like cheekbones I want to rearrange and the brow bones and stuff. It's like, all right, I'll go with a preset.
I mean, if it rolls and it's really bad, then I'm like, oh, I'm gonna fix this.
Definitely.
I think there should be a name for the term of like the more fancy and detailed and involved a character creator gets, the less interested I am in using it, not the more interested. Like, making a me is crazy fun, but like, man, like, you're adjusting these sliders for like a nose. I'm like, I can't tell what any of this is doing. And like, I'm glad it's there for the people that want it, but it is not hours of my life that I'm going to spend doing that.
All right, that brings us to video game 20 questions. And the subject line of this email says 20 questions from one husband and one wife. So this is not a polygamy situation we're dealing with here. There's only one husband and one wife.
It's good to know.
It's Coulter and Emily from Utah, and they say, hello, Scoopers. My wife and I love to play games together, either with couch co-op or taking turns with a controller. We play just about anything together, from Assassin's Creed to Overcooked to Zelda. So with that, let the questioning begin.
Was that a hint?
Yeah, has the game been mentioned?
Yeah.
Before 2000 or not? Is this from before 2000?
This game is not from before 2000.
Is it current gen?
Yes.
Could he and his wife play this together?
Yes.
So that means multiplayer, right? Because he specifically said they sometimes trade off to play together. So
yeah, does it have?
They couldn't play it with their other wives and husbands. Oh no, you said they don't have those.
That's right. One husband, one wife.
Okay.
Does it? Is it on the Switch?
This game is on the Switch.
Ooh. Exclusively?
Not exclusively. That's 5.
Could be Overcooked. We have a potential Overcooked situation.
Damon would never do that, right? He would never say they play a lot of Overcooked and then choose it.
I don't know. He didn't technically say it. He just read it out.
Should we clarify?
Mistake.
So we know they can play together. Like, are we assuming it's cooperative or just multiplayer?
No, just multiplayer, I would say.
Oh, is this a cooperative game?
There's a cooperative mode.
Oh.
Cool.
Is this an indie game? Don't ask me to define an indie game.
I think.
I swear, Damon.
I think people would consider this an indie game.
Is Cyberpunk an indie game?
No.
So this is like a borderline one.
So it's like a Double Fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
A Double Fine game from before 2 years ago was indie, but now it's not. Right?
Should we go developed in US, Japan route?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Is this developed in the US?
No.
Okay.
Is it Japanese?
No.
Yeah, so
Ugh.
European co-op game with some competitive and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Does this game have cartoony graphics?
Yes. That's
Whoa,
10.
I have no idea what the game is. That's cool to know.
Is Castle Crashers on the Switch?
Yeah, I don't know.
Also, I think the Behemoth is in Texas anyway.
Mm-hmm. Is there platforming involved?
Yes.
Is Cuphead? What?
Ooh, that's a good choice. That's a really good choice. I bet it's Cuphead. I'm trying to figure out like a smart way to narrow it down.
But did Cuphead come to Switch already?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, what a crazy port.
We
I knew it was
could
happening.
ask, we could ask if it's also in Teslas.
Oh yeah. Can you play this in Teslas?
No.
Right, so it's not Cuphead.
Or it's not pole position either.
But there's platforming. Cartoony platforming can be competitive, can be
Has
cooperative.
a co-op mode. Not made in the US or Japan.
Could it be like one of the,
the
Smash type games, like the Duck game or Battle whatever's? I don't know what the name is called.
Killer Queen Black.
Yeah.
Are there rabbits in it?
No. Well, okay, hold on. There may be a rabbit in the game, but it's not a main character.
Yeah, that's what I was going for.
Could be Rayman. I mean, I don't know if Yubi would be. They're probably not considered indie. I also don't know if there are any Rayman games on the Switch.
Can you play 4 players at once in this?
I don't know how many players it supports. Oh, I won't answer that one.
Is this so? Well, Tina, you asked if it had platforming in it. Like, is this game considered like? Is it a platformer? Do people call this game a platformer?
Yes.
I feel like we should get this. Well, is it a 2D platformer?
No. That's 15.
Oh, so it's cartoony, not a 2D platformer. That's very strange.
Yeah, a 3D platformer that has a co-op mode that is available on the Switch that was not made in the US.
I gotta say, that's the most definitive 3D answer Damon has ever given out. Ever.
I mean, I didn't play, like, does Ukulele doesn't have co-op, does it? Or does it? Because if it does, that was made in Europe.
I don't think it does. But I wouldn't, bet the game on it.
Have we all, or at least some of us, played this game?
I can't answer that.
Okay, all right. Because I was thinking maybe going the Yoku's Island Express route.
Yeah, but that's 2D.
No, but it has but that's the Damon thing, right? Like, it's made of 3D assets.
The Damon thing.
Yeah.
I think I take this to mean a game that's played in the 3-dimensional plane.
Could it be a VR game?
Not on Switch, though.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Well, Super Lucky's Tale did come to Switch. Stuff, right?
Did they port it in a non-VR mode?
Was this game well received? Well scored?
Reasonably well, sort of moderately.
Oh, wow.
I'm guessing we haven't played this game.
It could be Ukulele. But I don't know, man. I don't remember that having any kind of multiplayer.
I don't remember that either.
Jet Force Gemini did.
Did it really?
Yeah, it had multiplayer, and then it had you could play as the little bot in the background, zap things while your other person played the main character.
I feel like I should know. Like I know the Switch library really well. Like 3D platformers like that. Like I feel like I should be able to get there. Was this game released? Did it get a $60 release? Was it released for $60 on a cart?
I don't know.
Was this crowdfunded?
Yes.
Okay, it sounds like it's Ukulele.
Yeah, maybe we just didn't know. So, what's the name of that developer?
Was there controversy around a voice actor in this game at some point of time?
I don't know.
Oh boy. Okay. Well,
was
there
this
was
game-
in Ukulele.
Really?
Was this game made by former Rare developers?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Does it star? What is it like? It's like a lizard and a. I don't know that game that well.
Yeah, is this Ukulele?
Yes. Ukulele.
Wow. What's the co-op mode?
Nicely done. There's just a co-op mode.
Oh, that's cool.
I only played a little bit of it, and I didn't think it didn't grab me. I didn't think it was that great. So
Yeah, I played a little bit of it too.
I heard the sequel is excellent.
yeah, the 2D sequel is supposed to
Yeah.
be really good.
2.5D. Yeah.
Yeah. So they went Donkey Kong Country with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Have you heard the conceit about the sequel? This is like secondhand because I haven't played it myself, but I just thought it was so clever. Where like you can go attempt the last level of that game anytime you want, right from the start. But the more you play it, the more like lives and stuff you get that let you get farther and farther through the game. So it's kind of up to you. Like, oh, I have 40 lives now. Like I'm gonna go try like 40 attempts to beat the final level. Like,
yeah,
I just thought that was really cool.
You know what else did that? Breath of the Wild.
It is similar to that.
That's true.
Tina,
That's
is the controversy like fun or interesting, or is it like?
No, it's like there was a YouTuber that they enlisted to be a voice actor, and then he got into some controversy or said some controversial things on Twitter, and then I think they fired him from the project and before it released.
It had voice acting, and it has like some of the garbly, funny rare stuff in it.
Yeah.
I don't know how that came through people's ears just now,
It
but
sounded like Kazooie.
And then it's a lizard and a bat.
Mm.
Laylee is a bat, I
Mm.
believe. You consider that an indie game?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's published by Team 17, which is like they've been around for decades. So
Mhm.
that's the only reason why.
Yeah.
Get pause. All right, nicely job. Thank you for the suggestion from Coulter and Emily. One husband and one wife in Utah. If our listeners and viewers have your own suggestions, you can email them to me at gamescoop@ign.com. One person reached out asking I should give our watchers some love and say I should switch it up. Every other episode, I should say, let's check in with the watchers.
I like that.
That's fair. Yeah.
that makes me uncomfortable though.
The watchers.
Yeah.
Always
The
watch.
Watchmen.
Hey, yeah, who watches the Watchers? Did we talk about who has hard outs today?
Yeah,
there's
mine
only
is
one person.
approaching. You're
Yeah.
killing me.
2 minutes for Tina's heart out.
Yeah.
That is all the scoops that we have for this week. I'll keep plugging away at Resident Evil 3. Should have that finished by next week, and we'll see if we can get into Final Fantasy VII Remake. Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Tina. Thank you, Tayo, who's working behind the scenes to make all this happen. Everybody stay home, stay safe, and we will see you next week. My name is Damon. This is IGN Game Scoop, and we're out.
Bye.